Hi, everybody. Welcome back to the Young Fan Podcast, and welcome to another live predictions and preview show. Amazing to be here. Absolutely brilliant to be back. Love doing these live. Love having the conversation live. And it's the final podcast of 2022. Absolutely incredible stuff. Good afternoon to everybody. I know it's a little bit of an earlier stream today, but I thought we've got, well, it's exactly 24 hours, isn't it, until the games kick off. So, yeah, we've got a little bit of time to get excited, get ready, predict, preview, deep dive all of the games. And remember as well, I will be touching on Bolton, Lincoln, Cambridge and Derby's game. Of course, they all played, not all of them, against each other. They did play, Derby faced against Cambridge and Lincoln faced against Bolton. We will touch on that game when we come to those specific fixtures. I don't want to discriminate and miss any of those games out. We did a podcast yesterday, but of course they hadn't played their game yet. They played last night. Some really interesting games as well. We will be chatting about that. We won't forget about those. But most importantly, the final stream of 2022. How are we all doing? Give me your thoughts in the live chat. Are we excited? Are we ready? We've already got 30 odd people in the live chat right now. Absolutely incredible stuff. It's amazing to have you all with me. If you haven't left a like, please do that. Please do subscribe as well. I'm seeing Andy Shipper reports coming out today. The unnamed club has wanted one of our players, and the player wants to stay with the club, which is good. Interesting. Some transfer news Andy's bringing us on this New Year's Eve episode of the podcast live show as well. Remember, you can watch this as a video. It will be going up as a video, and we can give your thoughts in the comment section down below. I'll be replying and responding to all of them as per usual. Edge Norris says Happy New Year to all. So EG Norris, should I say. The Real D1 says Argyle are massive everywhere they go. Pingo says hello. Max FX says Happy New Year from Melbourne, where it actually is New Year now. Happy New Year to Max, of course. In Australia, it is officially 2023. That's a little bit scary. It probably isn't scary, but for me, that seems quite scary. But of course, we're well and truly still just about in 2022. It's not long though. Brendan Stevens says Norwich drew. I believe you're either a Norwich fan or you're a very happy Ipswich Town fan. E.G. Norris also says, up the tractor boys. Good afternoon, Jack. Hopefully you're well. Argyle have brought Ben Waine, decent striker from New Zealand. Interesting. Thank you very much. Some really interesting transfer news. I feel like we're hitting that point now where we can have a little bit of exciting... some exciting transfer news as well, because heading into the January window where teams will be really strengthening. Shall I ping the Discord saying that you've gone live? Ping, that'd be very, very helpful. If you could do that, that'd be amazing. And we have got a Discord server as well. We're sort of really trying to get to grips on the Discord server. It's a little bit of a I'm not very good with Discord. I didn't really have it before, but I'm getting better at it, and we're going to try and really improve that and improve that discussion. So please do. Join the Discord server. League One chat all the time. Fan callings will be happening in the turn of the year as well, so that's very, very soon. And we're just going to notify. Pinger's going to very nicely notify everybody in that we are officially live. 4-0 written all over it. It's here. Looking forward to this, mate. Hopefully you're well. Ben went to Argyle last night. Good striker. Can you see Charlton go down? They're in a difficult position. They didn't impress me whatsoever on Thursday night. I can't see them go down, though. I don't think we're going to see Charlton playing League 2 football next season. They've got to be careful, of course they am, but I imagine they will really strengthen in January, or try and strengthen it in January. I think they should be fine. I think they should be okay. Hey Tom, Pompey got battered everywhere they go. Are you coming home part of this season? Interesting. Pompey fan got kicked out during our game against Ipswich. Sheffield Wednesday will come even better in the next year, like they did last year up the Owls. Right, let's get into it because we've got a lot of games to get through. It's been amazing to catch up for the first 5 minutes, and we'll continue to do so. But we have got to crack on with some games because we have got a full schedule on New Year's Day. We love the New Year's Day football. It always does bring a lot of excitement. It's always sort of a traditional festive, or continues on the festive period, the final game of the real traditional festive period when it comes to football. Please do leave a like, please do subscribe, and we've got some really, really big games coming up, and I can't wait to get and dive straight into them. Sorry, that is the stream on repeat there. I want to bring up the live chat while we go through the games. Let's switch over to this screen here, and let's go to this screen here, and let's go in full screen. Let me know, you should be okay, and we should be all okay, and you should be able to hear me still and see me okay. We should have switched over that, and it should still be okay as well. I think I'm being told that it is okay. I'm just trying to replay the stream. I don't want to get into it. I think we are. I think we're okay. Right, then, let's start off. We can see Plymouth and MK Dons the first game on here, but we're not going to start with that one because I think that's That's one we'll leave a little bit later. Let's start with Forest Green Rovers against Port Vale, because this game, of course, against two sides who got promoted into League One this season, or 4 ahead of this season. They got promoted last year, of course. Forest Green Rovers, 3 defeats on the bounce now. And when it looked like it was going to get going for Forest Green Rovers, a really, really disappointing evening for them on Thursday when they were defeated by Burton 2-1. It was a pretty I imagine, demoralising result, because it was a really, really big game. We look at the relegation battle. I know we're only 24 games into the season, but it felt really, really important. It felt quite significant, and it's so significant that Burton are now out of that bottom 4, and that does show, I think, say quite a lot about that fixture. And Forest Green will be, I imagine, very, very frustrated by that result. So I've just seen Tom say it wouldn't miss it for the world. Yeah, I could see Forest Green Rovers get relegated. I did my halfway predictions. If you haven't watched that video, definitely go and check it out. But, I don't want to spoil too much about that video, but I can see Forest Green Rovers going down. I'm being honest. I can see Forest Green Rovers getting relegated. The recent form is really concerning. They're playing catch-up anyway when it comes to the points tally. They've got a really, really big challenge ahead of themselves. I look at the other teams that are falling down, and Accrington and MK Dons are still in there, but I imagine Accrington might be okay. I think MK Dons, although they lost against Peterborough, are probably going to be on the up. I'm worried about Forest Green Rovers. Let me know your predictions of this game in the live chat. I want to hear your thoughts, as I always do, for these live streams and for these predictions and preview shows that we do live. Port Vale, though, on the other hand, really, really exciting season for them, and it continues, doesn't it? It really does. 9th now in the league. They lost to Sheffield Wednesday 2-0 on Thursday, but I still felt that, in that game, they were always going to be massive underdogs. I saw a few people maybe give some I don't want to say rogue thought, that's disrespectful towards Port Vale, but Sheffield Wednesday, a few people were sort of backing Port Vale away from home, because they have been, a side that have maybe been really, really good at sides, maybe taking them a little bit for granted, or taking advantage of the fact they're not maybe a side that would expect to be ninth in the league at this point in the season. But Sheffield Wednesday had the professionalism, sort of guide their way through that, and in the end they were okay. But Port Vale across the season generally have been so impressive, and to be ninth in the league for a newly promoted side after 23 games is really, really impressive. 2-1 to Forest Green Rovers, I'm seeing here as well. Vale win 3-1, I reckon. Interesting. Let's have a little look at the odds as well. 30% of people say Forest Green Rovers, 45% of people say Port Vale. So 18% and 66% specifically. Jacob says afternoon, Jack. Afternoon to you, Jacob. Happy New Year to you, or nearly Happy New Year to you. Very, very close now, aren't we? So I see Port Vale in a position where they probably should win the game. They'll feel they should win the game. I'm going to go with them to win it. I'm going to go to Port Vale. I'm going to write it down so I don't make sure I don't lose track of what I did, because last week we could actually look back on the ones I predicted. I'm going to go Forest Green Rovers 0, Port Vale 2. I think Port Vale have got this one in the bag. They're going to be confident. They're going to be firing. They're having a really, really good season. They are having a really, really good season, and I can see that continue. I can. Right then, let's go to Peterborough United against Wycombe Wanderers. This is a big game, isn't it? This is a big game. You can see by looking at the table here, 7th versus 8th, the two sides who are battling it out to try and make their way into that top 6. Wycombe were in there for a split second. Peterborough were in there for a split second, but Bolton and Derby, of course, they're sort of playing all of their games over the festive period a day after the majority, both in those playoff places as of recording. Derby now in 5th, Bolton in 6th. And you can see Wycombe, Peterborough just outside that top 6, knocking on the door, breathing down the neck of those two clubs, and also maybe Barnsley to an extent. But I can see Barnsley, being quite comfortable in those playoff places, and Sheffield Wednesday as well, the top 2, and even the top 3, I think, like I keep saying, they probably are moving away a little bit from the rest of the pack. But Peterborough, Wycombe, and even the sides below them as well, it's really, really tight, really, really close. These two are going head to head, and, I can see a really, really fascinating encounter here. I really, really can. I'll say we've rested 8 players for this game. 1-1, Wycombe 1, Peterborough United 2, 2-1 to Posh, 2-1 Wycombe, 1-0 to Wycombe. Interesting, some real mixed results here. 1-1, we're nothing special. That is from a Peterborough United fan. Let's have a look at the odds as well. Of course, Wycombe were defeated by Plymouth 1-0, but that game, when it comes to chances, was quite close. Plymouth were pretty dominating and going quite in domination for the majority of the game. But we know Wycombe, the way they play, they don't dominate the ball a lot of the time. And that's not the type of side that Wycombe are. They like to play quite direct and play on the break. And that's what Gareth Ainsworth has done very, very well as a manager over the past past previous seasons. That's difficult to say. And also, we can't argue. It has brought great success. 25% Wycombe, 52% Peterborough. We're looking at the odds. 43, 27% specifically. So it does see the home side, Peterborough United, the favourites. Peterborough, last two games, they have started to get back on track a little bit. The run before that was really, really poor and sort of allowed them to sort of slip away. 2-2, 1-0. Been watching for you over a year. Really enjoy the content. Nice to catch a live stream for a change. There's Rob Scott. Rob, it's lovely to have you in the live stream as well. And thank you very much for watching the content. Don't count your chickens. If we win our game in hand and beat Barnsley and Plymouth in January, we could be not far off it. Resting most of the important players for this game. I think 2-1 to Wycombe. 2-2, Peterborough had a great squad, should do better, surely. Don't want Wycombe to reach the playoffs, to be fair. I think a lot of people might be in that boat. Nothing against Wycombe, but I think, Wycombe, they've, they do it quite often, don't they? And again, that has to be taken, and they have to take credit for that. 1-0 Wycombe, hand, not head. Not quite sure what Andy Shippo might have been saying there. I don't think Wycombe will win because we are awful away from home. Yeah, I see Peterborough win the game. I'm sorry, Wycombe fans. I do. I see Peterborough win the game, and I'm gonna go 2-1. I'm going to go 2-1 to Peterborough United. I think I had 2-1 for Plymouth against Wycombe, and that was 1-0. But I'm going to go 2-1 to Wycombe, 2-1 to Peterborough United. I think they're going to win the game. A little bit of a playoff chasing grudge match between those two sides on New Year's Day, which is really exciting. But I'm going to go 2-1. I think Peterborough got them in the bag. I do. I think they might be okay in this game. Right then, let's go to Shrewsbury against Fleetwood. Let's have a little look at this one then. Shrewsbury, 14th in the league, but a recent run. Last two games they've lost, and I'm a little bit worried about Shrewsbury, really. They've got a really good squad there, and generally they should be doing better than they are. And, I also look at the fact that at the start of the season, a lot of people were predicting Shrewsbury to finish much higher, as to where they are now. And again, that'll be a real concern, and that'll be a real problem for them. They are slipping away. It is tight. Win again, you're back in that top 10, and that's how close it is. But again, they were in a really promising position a couple of weeks ago. These last two results have been really concerning. And the one on Thursday was even more worrying because he lost at home to Cheltenham, who, again, Cheltenham are sort of around 16th, 17th, below them in the league table. And ultimately, at home, Shrewsbury should be doing better than that with the aspirations that they set and the expectations they potentially set. They probably should be winning those types of games, and they weren't able to. Fleetwood 17th, of course, draw a lot of games, 11 draws. They are playing away, though, which gives Fleetwood a chance, of course. Fleetwood away from home does give them a real chance. They've got a really quite good away record. I know they lost to Barnsley away on Thursday, but that was 2-1. It was quite a tight game. Fleetwood as well. Again, you can't write them off on the road. They have got this away record that would see them, I think, still around the playoff places. If we have a little look here, in the playoff places, 6th with their away record. The home record not so good, but this is a game away from home. And Shrewsbury, a little bit fragile at home in their last game. They're going to want to put things right. And could there be a little bit of pressure on Shrewsbury going into New Year's Day, knowing that was a really disappointing home result on Thursday? They've got to back it up. And it feels for Shrewsbury, if they want to stay into what is an outsider's, let's be honest, an outsider's playoff push, a win is really, really important. Let's have a little look at what we've got then here. Shrewsbury 1, Fleetwood 2, 1-1. Don't think Wycombe will win because we're awful away from home. Give me your predictions, of course, for this game. Has anything been heard about Fleetwood player Rooney? He's been charged by the FA. He's their best player. Yeah, he was sent off in the game, wasn't he? And that feels big for Fleetwood. He's a really good player. He certainly... left back is a really strong player. 0-0 I'm seeing as well from Andrew James. I can see a draw here. I'm going to go 1-1. I'm going to see goals, but I'm going to see a draw. I'm going to go Shrewsbury Town 1, Fleetwood 1. Let's have a little look at the odds. I imagine they're going to be quite close odds, actually. Maybe Shrewsbury. Have we got the odds? Yeah, Shrewsbury are edging it, but 45%, 29%. So Shrewsbury are favourites, but home advantage will be a big factor in that. Peterborough will prevail. Keep waiting for Plymouth to drop off. Don't think it's going to happen. 0-0. 3-2 Fleetwood. Gone from no goals to a 3-2 from Panda Boy. Rooney annoys everybody. He is quite a love him if you're on your team. Not so much if he's on the back end and not on your side. But at the same time, he is promising for Fleetwood, and he is a really, really good player. And certainly a shining light in that squad. But Peterborough don't draw. That is true. That's why I've gone with a 2-1 win for them. Rooney United deserves to get sacked. Does he? as it ruin it? As in, not quite sure what you mean by that, Panda Boy. I'm sure there's a lot of knowledge behind that, but I'm a little bit lost there. Fleetwood should dump him. That's what you mean. Not quite sure they're going to do that, though, are they? Because he is their best player. Plymouth is Plymouth. Parkway Argyle is that. So they win 2-1 Shrewsbury. I'm very impressed by Shrewsbury and how they've set up, but Fleetwood always score away. That is true, and I think Fleetwood are going to get a result there. I'm going to go 1-1. Another draw for Fleetwood. It will be frustrating for them, but it is going to be an away result that I think they're going to do okay in. I see 1-1. Right then, let's go to some really big games. I'm trying to sort of see what we can do when it comes to sort of spreading those games out. But let's go Morecambe against Burton, because this is really, really fascinating. Because Burton have got a chance now. Burton really, really do have a chance. Back-to-back wins for Burton over the Christmas period. They're having a Christmas to remember. This could be the revival over Christmas. If they win on New Year's Day against Morecambe, they are in a really, really interesting position. They can go from absolutely certified relegation candidates to getting out of a very, very, it looked like nailed-on relegation position. Cambridge have now got 9 injuries, potentially 10. Interesting. We'll come on to Cambridge in just a second. Cambridge got back. Yeah, there we go. So yeah, I can see. Yeah, 2-1 Burton. It's hard to beat class. It's hard to beat class from Championship League Peterborough. Give you predictions for this one, Burton Morecambe. I don't know. It might not be the most. Fascinating game of football when it comes to what we see on the pitch, but in terms of the importance of it, I don't think that can be doubted. Morecambe, 18 points. I am nearly writing Morecambe off for a chance of survival. For Burton, a couple of weeks ago I was in that same boat, but back-to-back wins, and again, it might not be. It is just as tight at the top end of the table, but it's also so tight in the bottom half as well. You go on a decent run like Burton, 2 wins from 2, and you're out of that bottom 4. Accrington, MK Dons suddenly really, really, I imagine quite worried. So Burton have got a real chance to sort of solidify their position out of that bottom 4, and I expect them to beat Morecambe. I think they will beat Morecambe. They're better than Morecambe, and that's individually, and also I think as a team this season from what we've seen so far. They haven't been very good, really, across the campaign, Burton, but I do think they're going to be okay against Morecambe. Morecambe really, really are struggling home and away this season. They're struggling for goals. I think Burton are going to really, really take advantage of that. And if they do win this game, absolutely who knows for Burton. I'm going to go Morecambe 0, Burton, and this is a really, really big call. I'm going Morecambe 0, Burton 2. I think they're going to be comfortable. I think they're going to win the game, and they're going to put themselves into a really, really interesting position going into the second half of the campaign. What are the bookies saying? 32%, 44%. So they are backing Burton. Interesting. And I'm not surprised by that, because that form is really important. And Morecambe as well. They're not going to be very high on confidence either. They really haven't been for the majority of the season. I think Burton are going to do this. I'm going to go 2-0. Morecambe had a great debut season last year, but I can't see them survive. Besides Stockton, their squad is simply League 2 level. Stockton also has been underperforming heavily. He really, really has, and he was their real goal-scoring output last year, and he's not up to scratch this season, and he's letting their side down, really. Hurts me to say, but I think Burton will win. Morecambe win 2, an 88th minute winner after Morecambe go 1-0 up after 15 minutes. We're getting the time of the goals, so this is interesting. Burton go 1-0, Burton to go 1-0 up, not Morecambe. 3-2 putting Burton back down there, 2 red cards in it. Interesting. We're expecting a few Morecambe backers in here. Fascinating. And a few red cards in there as well. A bit of a relegation scrap, isn't it? A little bit. Can't see this being a high-scoring game. 1-0 Morecambe. New year, new team, I hope. Let's see. Derby prediction next, says Ollie. Yeah, we'll do Derby next. I'm happy to do Derby next. Haaland Golden Boot. As he scored. I know they are playing today at the moment, aren't they? Kicked off at 3 o'clock. Yeah, I'm going to go Morecambe 0, Burton 2. I think they're going to be in pole position to win that game. Yeah, I'm excited by it. I'm excited by it. This sort of weird Burton revival. I shouldn't be that excited, but I am. I'm fascinated by the fact that they were absolutely miles away, and because it's so tight, the relegation battle is just as exciting as that top 6 race. Anybody can get out of the position. Accrington, MK Dons as well. I expect them to be okay, as you saw in my halfway prediction show. But again, now Burton getting their way out of it really, really does open it up. Anyway, let's move on. Let's go to Derby County, because I want to touch on Derby and their game. Their last game they played against Cambridge United, they won that game 1-0. It was quite narrow. It was quite tight in the end when looking at the scoreline, but it's an important win. They were quite dominant really across the game. You can see when looking at the attacking momentum graph, they did look in control. But Cambridge, they did have their moments. You can see when the goal came, sort of that big spell in the second half, the start of the second half. Cambridge, they did have their moments when they came forward, but generally Derby did look in control. And at home, you do back Derby. They were favourites. Pride Park is a rocking atmosphere and has been for the majority of the season. They really have backed their players for a side in League One. After that relegation, after the disappointment of what has been for quite a few seasons, they really are getting behind their players, and that's really great to see. And they were in control against Cambridge United. You can see by looking at the stats as well. Possession stats, again, they were 62% to their favour, 38% against it. 14 shots to 9, so 6. That was close. 6-2. Corner kicks as well. I mean, Cambridge actually had more corners. Big chances, they had 3-0. So it did look like Derby were okay in that one and looked fairly in control. Maybe not on the scoreline. They hoped to maybe got more than just a one goal, but defended well, clearly. Cashin had a really good game as well. So fair play to Derby. They got the job done. Maybe not as convincing as, like I say, as maybe Paul would have wanted, but the win's the win. The 3 points is what they wanted, and they can move on. And I imagine be happy. And it does now, put them in a position when they play Accrington at home as well. Back-to-back home games for them against sides down there in the mix of relegation. Sorry, Cambridge fans, but you are down there, unfortunately. And Accrington certainly are. They're in that bottom 4. I'm reading some of your thoughts here as well. 2-1 Accrington, 4-1 Derby, 2-1 Stanley. Derby won the win against Stanley. Never 2-0 Derby, 2-1 Derby. Derby will finish third eventually, I believe. 2023 will be good for them, I reckon, says Luke Van Gent. Lee, plus clean sheets in a season. Almost clean sheets of 16. We're nearly there, just half through the season. Lee, you're right. Derby are doing well, aren't they? They are doing well when it comes to clean sheets. Scorers on the same level as Wednesday and Ipswich, I do believe. 2-0 Derby win. Now, I'm going to go with Ollie. I imagine he is a Derby fan. He was asking me to do this game. 80% Accrington. I think Derby now are sort of really getting a bit of a run going. Defensively, they're really solid. As a mix between solid and strong, and they feel now they're going to really hit a bit of rhythm, hit a bit of momentum, and keep going. They're now 5th in the league. They do look in a really, really promising position. They can just keep winning games. They can keep this sort of really, really strong professional outlook they sort of seem to be developing under Paul Warne. And we know Paul Warne is really, really good at creating these sides where they're very, very difficult to beat, and going forward they're not bad either. And most importantly, they're in a really, really good playoff position or promotion position come the end of the season. And that's going to be really exciting for Derby County. 2-0 Derby, 1-0 Derby. We'll bring in a couple of players in January to get us over the line. Can you do Plymouth next, please? Jack, I will do Plymouth next. They got MK Dons. Morecambe won their last three, draw. Morecambe won their last game, draw, or Morecambe. I'm not entirely sure what that means. I'm a Sheffield Wednesday fan, says Lee. Oh, I thought you were talking about the Sheffield Wednesday clean sheets. I mean, Derby have done well defensively as well, only conceding 17 goals. To be fair, both of them have done okay. Very, very close, 18-17. I was agreeing with you, Lee, but it seems as though we're talking about different teams. Derby are very good defensively as well. Another clean sheet for them yesterday. And I believe they have conceded the least amount of goals in the league. There we go. They have as well. We accidentally stumbled across the same outcome there. I'm going to go with Derby County win here. I'm probably going to go 2-0. I saw a few 2-0s on the chat. You can't really write Accrington off. They will try and make it quite nitty-gritty, but I'm going to go 2-0. I think Derby will sort of see through that. They've got the quality to see through it. I'm going to go 2-0. We've got 75 people in the live chat right now. Please do leave a like if you haven't already. We've got 75 people. No reason we can't get 75 likes. That'd be amazing if you could do that. Please do leave a like. That would be much appreciated. We're on a roll at the moment. We're coming on now to Plymouth against MK Dons. I've got a really blocked nose, by the way, and I've got a really, really bad cold at the moment. And I'm working tonight on New Year's Eve, so Happy New Year to you all. It's gonna be good. It's gonna be, I imagine, quite a long night as well. Have you predicted the Ipswich game yet? No, I haven't. Ipswich not yet. Wycombe, I hope Peterborough lose. When will you do the three-horse race? Okay, cool. Thanks, Welling, Jack, lad. Yeah, I'm gonna go 2-0. That's Ollie. 05. Plymouth against MK Dons. I've got an Argyle for MK Dons. Neil, by the way, I'm a big EFL fan from Holland, especially hope Wednesday will go up from League One. They're in a decent position right now, third in the league. You just see there, we're looking at the league table. Plymouth against MK Dons then. This game was really, really interesting on the final game of the season, wasn't it? MK Dons absolutely obliterated Plymouth on the final day of the season. I believe, was it 6-0? 6-0 or 5-0? I think it was 5, wasn't it? 5-0 at home park. And it meant that they didn't get in the top 6, Argyle. They missed out on the playoff place, so they looked nailed on for the majority of the season. And they absolutely, and I know we've got a few Plymouth fans in the chat right now, they bottled it on the final day. MK Dons, who were very, very good all season, of course, got knocked out in the semi-finals of the playoffs, but generally, across the campaign, they were very, very good. This year, Plymouth, top of the table at this point, MK Dons 22nd. Very, very different to what it was last season. 21 points for MK Dons. They lost against Peterborough on Thursday. They were pretty much comfortably beaten against Peterborough United, but before that, back-to-back wins. I'm still quite hopeful about MK Dons. I still am quite hopeful. I do see MK Dons climb their way out of that situation they currently find themselves in. I think Mike Jackson coming in is quite an exciting appointment. He knows the role and he knows why he's coming to the football club at this point. It's because the last manager, Liam Manning, wasn't getting results and they're in a relegation battle and he's got to get them out of that. And I think that squad has got the ability. I like that squad generally. I think of course there are gaping holes in it, and you think that in January, like many clubs, they will try and fix those positions when looking and dipping into the transfer market. But I think, even on face value, that squad is not the 22nd worst squad in the league, if we're being totally honest. When looking at Plymouth top of the table, they're pretty faultless. They are pretty faultless. They're a side that after 24 games have won 16 on 53 points and are top by 4 points, it's hard to critique them. You can see 3 wins on the bounce as well. They did a really good job against Wycombe, and again, a professional job. They dug deep at times. They had to stay strong. They were really, really good defensively. Wycombe knocked on the door later on in the game at Plymouth. They held strong. We'll speak about a side that maybe weren't at their best, and Plymouth probably have played better across the season. You can't really argue the side who are top of the table just getting the job done. Sorry, I'm really quite struggling at the moment when it comes to the cold. Plymouth on 57% chance of winning, MK Dons 22%, 77% and 43% in total. So it is, really quite a Plymouth Lancer when you look at the bookies. Even specifically, 77% is a really high odds. Plymouth at home this season have been absolutely brilliant. You can see their home record. They've only lost 1 game. They've won 11 from 12. They're absolutely exceptional at home park, and they really are making it a bit of a fortress at home. So I expect Plymouth to win the game. I'm sorry, Plymouth MK Dons. I know I have recently backed you, but I think Plymouth are going to make it back-to-back defeats for you. I think Plymouth are going to win their 4th straight win. I'm going to go Plymouth Argyle 2, MK Dons 0. I think Plymouth are going to do the job. We've gone with quite a few 2-0 or 2 goals. Yeah, how many 2-0s we got? 4 2-0s, and the other one was 2-1 and 1-0. We've got quite a few 2-0s, but I think Plymouth are going to win the game, and I think it's going to be Plymouth 2, MK Dons 0. You can see by looking at the chat. Afternoon, Nat says afternoon, Jack in the chat. Afternoon, Nat. Hopefully you're well. I can see MK Dons surprise. Sorry, excuse me. Hi, G mate. Hope you're well. I'm just going to go back and see here as well. MK Dons. Since they sold Scott Twine, they must. After watching since they got Scott Twine, they really have dropped off. You're right. After watching the way we played, it's frustrating not to get there. Afternoon. I'm saying hello to Nat. Brendan says, "Go the young boys," and he also says, "Rest in peace, Pele," as well. Absolutely, rest in peace, Pele. Legend of the game. Just so sad that we've lost him. I never had the privilege of watching him play, but my dad has shown me lots of videos of Pele, and I've myself watched a lot of the football that he was involved in. Absolutely spectacular player, and to lose a player like that, and lose a person like that as well, because what an absolutely brilliant legend he was of the beautiful game. To lose somebody like that is horrendous. So condolences to his family as well, his friends and family, because I imagine, in fact I know, it will be a very difficult time for them. And for football, it's also hugely heartbreaking as well. E.G. Norris, very well, Nat. Hopefully, new year. 2-0 Plymouth. They did against Pompey. If they did against Pompey, they did too bad. But if they play how the result usually do, they'll be battered. I'm going in between. Same to you, E.G. Plymouth 3, MK Dons 0. Jake, happy new year. As you can see, Jake in the chat as well. Good afternoon, Jake. Hopefully you're well, son. Happy with the result yesterday. I imagine you are. A good result, really. 6-0 Argyle. We're massive everywhere they go. 1 second, everybody. I'm just going to quickly switch over to the screen here. I'm not going anywhere. I just need to, in the most fashionable way, blow my nose and get a little bit clearer. So speaking is a little bit frustrating. 1 second, I'll literally be 30 seconds. That's better. That feels better. Right, where we're in the chat. Afternoon, Nat. Happy New Year. Lincoln get battered. Real D1 has said to everybody who's joined the chat. Yeah, let's see what happens. 3-0 Plymouth. I've gone 2-0. I think I back Plymouth in this game. Right, let's go then. Let's move on to the next one. Let's go to Lincoln against Ipswich. We'll touch on the Lincoln game. They, of course, face Bolton. And at home this season they've been really, really good. They're still unbeaten at home as well. So, fair play to Lincoln. They've done a really, really good job. And, they got pretty comfortably beaten by Burton the game before that. And then they go and face Bolton and draw the game. And actually, they were leading in the game as well, fairly early on, I believe. Let's touch on that game because I know Lincoln, and we said we'd speak about Lincoln and Bolton, and we'd speak about that game. It does also mean that we can break that down, and all Bolton fans and Lincoln fans can give their thoughts as well. Of course, we've got Jake in here. Not sure if you've had many Bolton in here, but my goodness, the referee yesterday let their bench referee the game, which is dangerous, deserved a point. Sheffield Wednesday will bring in better players this January. They got the most budget in League One, I believe, will be the team to beat in the new year. Plymouth into the Championship. You can see by looking at the graph here, I mean, it was fairly comfortable for Bolton Wanderers in terms of the attacking momentum that they had, especially in that second half. But, really, Lincoln, they needed to hold strong, and they did. So you can't really argue with that. Bolton probably were on top, and Bolton were probably the better side. But you always knew that Bolton were going to go there and be possession hungry. It's what Ian Evatt wants to do, and what he has really, really created when constructing this side. You can see by looking at the possession stats, 74% in total, but not many shots in there. Only 6 shots and 5 to Lincoln City, and 74% possession. Only 1 on target as well. Once again, Bolton, the clinical edge and the goal-scoring output in the attacking area, it just isn't there. And we see it week in, week out. Bolton need to desperately dip into that market and bring somebody, and bring a striker in ultimately. Bring a striker, and that's going to really help them out. As for Lincoln, they got a red card in the game as well, which made it even more difficult. But generally, a really, really good point for Lincoln. Still unbeaten at home. Will that continue against Ipswich? 2 very, very difficult home games back to back, but at the moment, you can't really argue that Lincoln do look really, really good at home. As for Ipswich, they did draw. Of course, they drew to Pompey. That was a finish of 2-2. I say we drew 1-1, or I say we draw 1-1 or win 2-1. I decided, can't see Lincoln lose their unbeaten home record to us. But at the same time, we played them off of park in our loss to them and just got unlucky. Yeah, the question will be, can Lincoln do the double over Ipswich Town? That is something that Lincoln will be hoping they can do, but they know it won't be easy whatsoever. They have got the home game now, and we know home advantage is really, really important anyway, especially when you look at their home record for them, as a specific side. 2 strikers incoming at Bolton. Apparently, offers already gone in. I hope that's right, David Jones. If it isn't, then I would be concerned. They certainly need 1, 2 would be even better. Andrew James, 0-0 draw Lincoln to frustrate Ipswich as they did at Portman Road. Lincoln always do well against the big teams, never the small teams. Also, with them being at home, can I see it being very difficult for Ipswich? 2-1 to Ipswich. Let's have a look at the odds as well. 20% for Lincoln City, 62% for Ipswich. Don stay up, says Shelley Cambridge. So I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go have a draw. I am gonna go with a draw, and I'm gonna go 2-2. I am gonna go 2-2. Jake's gonna be absolutely fuming because every time I back Lincoln this season, they really, really have they let themselves down. I've backed Lincoln. I think I got them to definitely beat Burton. They lost that game 3-0. I think I got them to lose against Bolton. They got a draw. If I draw to Ipswich, I could be right. Or I could could allow Lincoln to let themselves down again. Hopefully, Jake doesn't mind. I've gone with that. I generally think that they're a draw or nick it. Big game, big atmosphere. Heart says 1-0. Head says 1-0. Ben House on the score sheet. Ben House, of course, a very, very good player for Lincoln City. Scored the goal yesterday as well. Want Lincoln to win. for Argyle, I imagine, from Argyle perspective, it would be good for Ipswich to draw the game. Only if Plymouth win, though, or draw. I mean, they have got a bit of a gap anyway, haven't they? I'm going to go Lincoln 2, Ipswich 2, a high-scoring draw. It wouldn't be very good for Ipswich, though, really. They need to continue to win because that gap won't want to get any bigger between themselves and currently leaders, Plymouth Argyle. Right then, let's move on to the next one. Pompey against Charlton Athletic. Wasn't massively impressed by Charlton on Thursday. They first half got absolutely battered by Oxford, and I never normally say that. Unfortunately, I haven't said that enough times this season. I really don't feel as though that they looked anywhere near to the level that they should be. And I watched them play against Pompey actually for the home reverse tie of this game. A couple of months ago actually now probably, and Charlton were absolutely different gravy. Since then, I mean, both sides have had a little bit of a turn for the worse. Pompey have dropped down to 10th and Charlton have dropped down to 18th. Both sides, you can see by looking at the form there, lots of red, lots of grey. Both sides really out of form. I know Pompey got a draw against Ipswich, but even in that game, they did certainly look second best when looking at the performance level. Of course, a few individual mistakes cost them, but generally, Ipswich were on top and dominated the game. So it's a little bit of a fall of two. I mean, they are giants, but but looking at the league table, they really have falling away since we last saw them. I think Charlton were just out. They might have been 11th or 12th when they played Pompey the first time. Portsmouth was certainly in the top 6. Both sides now really have dropped and tumbled down the league table. So much has changed. I don't think my heart could take that 2-2, Jake. I don't. Yeah, I imagine it wouldn't, but I also think that would be a really good result. Graham Turner would love a Lincoln win or a draw. I'm confident about Wednesday winning most of the games in 2023, maybe a draw. Pompey 2, Charlton 1, 1-0 Pompey. Charlton are my favourite for the drop. Really? That does surprise me. I think Charlton will invest or certainly bring players in January. And I think that squad is good enough to stay in the league. They're just really out of form and they're absolutely shot for confidence. Give me your thoughts for this game. Like I say, when I last saw these two teams play against each other, it was a very different game. Two sides really in form. Pompey didn't turn up. Charlton wiped the floor. They won the game 3-0. I was so impressed by them. The pace of that Charlton side was exceptional. I watched them play on Thursday. They were absolutely short for ideas. They had one method of play, and that was lump it up to Jayden Stockley. And that won't work. That simply won't work, unfortunately. Has to be a win tomorrow. Jets as Tom from 4-0 written all over it. Yeah, it feels like a must-win game for Pompey. It does. If Portsmouth want to, get back on track and get back into the mix, a win is really important. And if Charlton play what they did against Oxford, I think Pompey will do that. I do. They really didn't look very good at all. They played a fight at the back. They made some very silly decisions from a selection perspective. I don't know whether or not Liebe was injured or it was trying to be quite different by dropping him. He's their best player. He was the best player when he came on. Raksaki on the bench as well. When he came on, he brought pace. Maybe not the end product, but he brought pace. So really bizarre why that didn't happen. The man himself, Afternoon Thomas, will We'll lose 2-1 tomorrow against Charlton. Draw it boring 0-0. 3 points from you tomorrow, Jakey. Of course, Jake and Tom get along very well. Lincoln City fan and Pompey fan there. Both of those channels, of course, you can check out. Jake Tong has got his Lincoln City channel. Tom, from what I've written over it, obviously has got his Portsmouth channel as well. Both of those I do recommend checking out. Have we done Oxford yet? I'm late. No, we haven't. We'll come on to that game very soon. If Pompey don't win, how long is Danny Cowley staying? I mean, that's a question for Tom. Tom, if you're still here, how many games do you give Danny Cowley? I know Tom is a little bit protective of his Danny Cowley, but you can understand why. He's been there a long time, and also, there is no doubt he is a good manager. But it isn't looking great at the moment. If they lose tomorrow, does that make it, really difficult for him to come back? I don't know. That's one for Tom. Feel sorry for Tyler Rowlinson. Charlton being drained by vampires. Yeah, definitely go and check out Tyler's video as well. He broke down the Oxford game really well. Obviously, I did my match reaction as part of the roundup yesterday, but from a Charlton one and the Charlton angle and point of view, that's a really good watch. So definitely go and see that. Danny Cowley will be going nowhere, and for good reason. That is Tom's very strong and opinionated view on Danny Cowley. Give Danny Cowley the keys to City, top bloke, top gaffer. Both teams need a win badly, which usually results in a draw, so 0-0. I'm going to have a little look at the odds as well. Where have we got the odds? Here they are. 51% Pompey, 26% to Charlton. Yeah, I do see Portsmouth win the game. I do. I was so disimpressed by... Is disimpressed the word? disimpressed, not impressed. We're going to really simplise it. Simplise it. That's not a word either, I don't think. Simple it down. That's not a phrase. You can tell I'm tired, and you can tell I'm not feeling very well. Yeah, I do back Pompey. They haven't been in very good form. They're winning this in quite a few games. I think 7 or 8 games now. I think it might be even 8 games now. But I think Portsmouth win the game. Was not impressed by Charlton. I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go 3-1 again. Another 3-1 loss for Charlton away from home. I'm gonna go Pompey 3, Charlton 1. Danny Kelly gets sacked if not a win or a draw. I don't know if he will though. Unimpressed. That's it, isn't it? Unimpressed, not disimpressed. Unimpressed. Thank you very much, Tom. What would I do without you? Simplify. I'm getting all the vocabs in. I know the vocabulary would be the downfall in this stream. Pompey, Charlton, both even teams. 1-1. Charlton have a good away side. They have a chance. Interesting. Interesting indeed. It's getting dark, isn't it? It's getting really dark. It's a very gloomy day outside. Hopefully not for tomorrow for the football. Hopefully it's a little bit warmer and less raining. Charlton have had a good away side. We read that one. Do you think Cowley can take you up this season? Question for Tom as well. Tom's getting all the questions in here. A little Q&A for Tom. While he answers that, let's move on to the next game. Not many to go. Not many to go. In fact, we've got 3 to go? Nah, more than that. 4, I think. Bristol Rovers against Cheltenham. You can see by looking at the league table here. Bristol Rovers, 12th in the league. Cheltenham, 16th. Very, very close, actually, when looking at the points tally. And that's, again, such a fascinating way of breaking this down. Bristol Rovers still in with a shout. Back-to-back defeats for them now, though. That'll be really frustrating. Off the back of an absolutely thrilling defeat to Exeter 4-3. They looked like they were going to go on and win the game at one point. 3-2 up from 2-0 down. And they conceded 2 late goals. Absolutely incredible. 25 games to play, anything is possible, says Tom. Barnsley versus Bolton 2-2. I'm going for the referee to completely lose control and 2 sendings off. This is going to be a ding-dong of a game. I hope not, but can see this being a bad game tempo-wise. Bristol Rovers, Cheltenham, that's very hard. It's a very hard one to call. I do think Bristol Rovers will win the game, though. Or it might be a draw. Either Bristol Rovers or a draw for me. 3-0 to the gas, says Gordo. 54% Bristol Rovers, 22% to Cheltenham. Of course, Cheltenham won on the road really, really well against Shrewsbury. That was a deep, deep game. They got a sending off in that one as well. But I think Bristol Rovers might be okay. Yeah, I think I'm going to go Bristol Rovers. Quite a quick one here for the prediction, but I think Bristol Rovers will be okay and they'll win the game. I'm going to go. Yeah, that was a noise to represent how I'm feeling with this one. A bit undecisive. I'm going to go a bit of a high scoring one. I'm going to go 3-2 Bristol Rovers. I can see goals here. 2-0 Rovers, 1-1. 2-0 to the Gas, 4-3 Gas. Cheltenham win 2-0. I expect another Bristol Rovers thriller, but this time Rovers come out on top. They're going to be so frustrated by the way that game ended against Exeter, especially at home as well. They're going to want to put things right on New Year's Day tomorrow. I think they're going to win the game 3-2. 2-1 to the Gas. Cheltenham aren't a bad team, but Rovers are better. Also the home team. But Barnsley's done a good job at Bristol Rovers. Hope that he can solidify them in League One for the upcoming years. I think he's going to try and solidify them and even try and take them further than that. I think that's the plan with them. Right then, Bolton travelling to Barnsley. Let's have a little look at this one then. This is a big game. 4th in the league, 6th in the league, those two clubs. Bolton, last 2 games have ended in a draw. They've been a little bit lacklustre in sort of the last couple of games, Bolton, and you sort of feel as though yesterday that needed to be a win, but Lincoln was always going to be a really difficult place to go by just looking at the form and also by the squad that Lincoln have got there when they're on it and when they don't play a side lower than them in the league table. Lincoln are a very, very difficult side to play, and yesterday Bolton really did experience that. As for Barnsley, they've been in absolutely brilliant form. They're really, really in a strong position now. 40 points. I think they definitely will be in the top 6. And I think they're going to be a real, real test for Bolton Wanderers. This is going to be a really, really challenging game at Oakwell. I don't know. Again, these are some really, really tough games here for predictions. Really, really difficult. Bolton know they need to sort the inconsistencies out. They need to be really strong in front of goal. Barnsley only have conceded 18 goals this season. They've got the joint second best... what's the word? defensive record. That's the word. Defensive record. Just behind Derby, who've got 17 goals they conceded. Bolton's aren't bad, but they really are struggling in front of goal. Barnsley don't score loads of goals, only 3 more than Bolton, but Bolton haven't been clinical in recent weeks, and their creativity hasn't been up to scratch either, really. 1-0 Bolton, 0-0, 1-1, 1-1, 0-0, 1-0 Barnsley. Barnsley will win 1-0. I was really unimpressed by Bolton yesterday. Had all the ball and didn't even threaten us after we went down to 10. They need a proper striker, but had 5 on the pitch. Barnsley won, Bolton 0. Jake, strong prediction, strong call, and explained his decision very, very well. 2-1 Barnsley proved against Fleetwood they can win when they're up against it. Also, the form is a massive thing. Bolton are also struggling at the moment. Can't see anything other than a Barnsley win. 2-1 Bolton, 0-0. Hope Bolton can win, but I doubt it. I think 1-1 in the end as Bolton could defend decently. 45%, 30% to Bolton. So we are seeing Barnsley, the home side, the bookies' favourites. Have we spoken about Ipswich yet? We have. And we said 2-2 between themselves and Lincoln. I see either a Barnsley win or a draw here. I'm going to go... You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to go 0-0. I'm going to go 0-0. I can see Bolton draw another game 0-0. I want a draw as a Derby fan. Yeah, I'm going Barnsley 0, Bolton 0. I can see a draw. Bolton have been on the end of a lot of draws recently. I could just see it, draw. See a draw. Katie says, I still think 0-0. Yeah, I agree. I could see 0-0. I think it's going to be really hyped up as like a 4th against 6th game, where everyone's like, it's going to be a really, really high-scoring encounter, and it's going to sort of not really live up to expectations. I'm going to go 0-0. Let me know in the comment section and the live chat as well. Bristol Rovers draw. Interesting. I went 3-2. 3-2 win. As a Barnsley fan, I hope for a win. I imagine you do. But I'm going to go 0-0. I'm going to go 0-0. Derby are shocking. I don't think they are. Right, then let's go to... We've got 2 games left. 2 games left, is that right? We haven't spoken of this one yet. I think it's this one, Oxford Exeter. Is that right? Sheffield Wednesday against Cambridge United. Third in the league. Sheffield Wednesday. Back-to-back wins for them now. Sort of really, really getting going. And they're grinding results as well, aren't they? They're grinding results. They're being really, really good when it comes to digging deep in games and when it matters, getting those results. And I think they're going to be okay in this game. I do. I think they're going to be fine. Cambridge, 19th in the league. They lost again. And although it wasn't a very easy game playing against Derby and losing that game 1-0 isn't a disgrace, you still feel as though points matter. Points matter, and where they are on the league table, it does look a little bit concerning right now. We're top. Where are you? Right. Not quite sure what's going on there. The Massive Owls haven't been done yet. We're here now. Even though Bannon may be injured, everyone underestimate Dale. I can't even pronounce his name. I know you mailed that. Delhi Bashiriro. And Wednesday have enough depth in the squad to grind out a result, but Wednesday will win comfortably. I'm happy with 3 points against Cambridge. Hopefully win their injury problems. Wednesday can bag a few goals and second above Ipswich. By the way, if you haven't left a like, please do that. 79 people in the live chat right now. Please do leave a like. Please do subscribe as well if you haven't done so. We're so close to 3,700. Well, we're closer to 3,650, so if you could do that, please do so. Owls have just got the cogs going. That's what I mean. I think the Owls are really, really getting going now. I think they really do look strong. And they're grinding results, and they're just sort of turning up, getting the job done, move on. And that's a really good mentality to get yourself into, Sheffield Wednesday. Something they struggled to do last year, to be honest. Keep writing Plymouth off at your peril. Could be 7 points clear tomorrow evening. Up the town, Derby will win very comfortably against Accrington. I went with a 2-0 win. 3-0 to Wednesday. Very, 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 very heavy favourites here, Sheffield Wednesday. 75% at home. Yeah, I think Sheffield Wednesday win the game. I can't see another result than Sheffield Wednesday winning. I'm going to go Sheffield Wednesday 3, Cambridge United 0. Sorry, Cambridge fans. I think it's going to be job done for Sheffield Wednesday. I think they're going to win the game 3-2. Derby 5-0 against Accrington. I wouldn't go that far. Maybe 3, but I've gone 2. 5-0, maybe not so much. 2-0 Wednesday, 5-0 to... No, right. Right then, the final game. I believe this is the final game. I don't think I've missed any out. No, I don't think I do. The final one, the big one, the one you've all been waiting to see. 78 people are here to watch this now. 3.6 is mad, mate. I remember when you were on less than 1,000. It wasn't too long ago. I know it wasn't long ago, and that's crazy. And that's very nicely, Tom. Moving on to a very big thank you, actually, really, before we come on to Oxford United against Exeter. So the final game of this prediction and preview show. This year's been crazy. 2022 has been amazing. It's the year that I hit 1,000 subscribers. I think that's right. Yeah, I think it is right. I was not at 1,000 subscribers before this year. It's the year that I hit 1,000 subscribers. It's also the year that I hit 3,000 subscribers. It might also be the year that I hit, or I just recently hit 3 point. I'm well over 3.6. Yeah, 3.6. So, it's crazy, really, and that's all thanks to you. We were doing live streams at the end of 2021 and the middle of 2021 with about 7 people watching, and now we're sort of hitting 75 people, and we're doing it at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. If we did this in the evening, you'd imagine you might get a few more people, but generally that doesn't really matter, because where we've come from to have 75 people in the live chatting, discussing is just incredible. So it is the end of the year, but 2023 is going to be even better. It's going to be even bigger. We've got some really exciting content coming at the start of the year. Of course, Oxford playing Arsenal, which is going to be lovely. It's going to be a really interesting night, and I look forward to that. And we're gonna go and try and keep hitting those milestones, trying to keep growing, because to not have 1,000 going into this year, to end the year on 3.6 is amazing. So thank you so much for that, because without you watching this and without you watching, we probably wouldn't have that. So in fact, we definitely wouldn't have that, because if you don't subscribe, you don't watch, we don't grow. Let's have a little look at what we've got to say here. Accrington 0, we'll go 3-0 against Accrington. Deep down, who do you think will finish top 2? Ipswich, Plymouth. Doing class work with a YouTube scene, young man. Keep up the top work. You're an inspiration, Jake. You don't have to say that, but that is so lovely. Thank you very much, Jake. Plymouth and Sheffield Wednesday. Have Ipswich been done yet? They have. I went with a 2-2 draw. You're a great YouTuber. About the League One stuff. Just recently discovered you, and I'm very glad I did. Thank you very much to you, Luke. Lovely comment. But Ipswich can make it. I hope whoever doesn't make it top 2 out of the top 3, they win the playoffs. Right then, Exeter 11th, Oxford United 13th. This feels like a really big game for Oxford. It does. It feels as though we really do need to sort of really get going and get into gear, and also use that result against Charlton as confidence to push on and get the result. We played Exeter 3 times already this season, I believe. 3 times? Or 2 times? Twice this season already. We beat them in the away fixture 4-2. We beat them in the Kassam 4-2 as well. So, and that was in the FA Cup. So we're now playing the Kassam again in League One, and I really hope we can get the result. I really do. We know that we can beat Exeter. However, since then we've sort of had a few disappointing results. So Exeter, they've sort of had quite a topsy-turvy a couple of results, but they won their last game brilliantly against Bristol Rovers, a fantastic result. So I think it's going to be really close. I think it's going to be really tight. I don't expect loads of goals, even though it's all 4-2, and both of these sides will like to play really attractive stuff. I don't see it being massively as high scoring as it was in recent encounters. Exeter do ship quite a few goals. You can see 36 goals conceded, Oxford 26. They do score more than Oxford. So I'm going to back Oxford here. I'm sorry I'm going to back Oxford here, but I really do feel we've learned that against Charlton, we can play good stuff when we're on it. Second half, we dropped off, and that'll be annoying. We've got to play for the entire game. Charlton weren't good, and that's important to say as well. They weren't good, but we played with confidence. We moved the ball about quickly. We looked really strong in both phases and in transition as well. Exeter also, I think, can be very good at that. I think Gary Cadwell is a very good manager. I think he's a very exciting manager who's come in and wants to bring excitement to Exeter and that football club. And he did that on Thursday when they won 4-3. Maybe could have been more convincing, and he hoped it would have been a little bit less stressful. But he won't care now. They're 4-3 winners, and they're on 31 points and having a really good debut season, as I said many times so far and already this year. 3-1 Oxford, 1-0 Oxford, 1-0 Exeter. What are we saying here? Yeah, I'm going to go Oxford to win the game. I enjoy listening to your thoughts for the multi. I've got Plymouth at good odds and Sheffield Wednesday and Millwall. Chat just joined. I have done all this. The final game. Yes, I have. I went with a 2-0 win against Accrington. I don't think Oxford are going to win the game, and I'm going to say, I think we're going to win 1-0. I think it's going to be tight. It's going to be edgy, but I think we're going to win 1-0. I can see 1-0. Another clean sheet as well would be nice. I fancy Oxford. I hope we do. He predicted 2-0 to the Rams. I did. I went Derby 2, Accrington 0. Amazing, amazing stuff. That is all of the games. You can see the current league table as well. How will that look after New Year's Day? How will that look in 2023? Amazing. You won't see me until 2023 again as well. Remember, this will be the last stream we do. Screen. That's the right screen. Sorry about that. This will be the last stream and the last episode we do in 2022. So it's amazing to be here. It's amazing that you've joined me. And yeah, hopefully we have a really strong next year as well. I really, really do. The podcast has been amazing. The podcast has grown. Oxford United hopefully can have a really good 2023 as well. Let's see what happens. Yeah, it's been amazing. And these live streams recently have also been really, really good as well. I'm really, really excited to see where this goes. And I think the live streams have also, I think, interacted with a lot of people, and the discussions are absolutely fantastic. So thank you so much for that. How many likes are we on, by the way? We've got 76 people. If you haven't left a like, would you like to end now? If you haven't left a like, we are currently on 52 likes. If you haven't left a like, please do that. It'd be amazing. And yeah, have a very, very good new year. We look good unbeaten in like 13 to 14 games, disregarding the Liverpool. I think we do beat Accrington as a Derby County fan. Bye, Jack. Happy New Year. Top stream, sir. See you in 2023. Happy New Year. Happy New Year to everybody. Hopefully you have a really, really good one. I'll see you all very, very soon. And yeah, until next time, stay safe. And I'll see you next year. That sounds crazy. That sounds a little bit mental. But don't worry. That's only about 24 hours away, wherever you're watching from. Some people are already in 2023. If you